If you were to ask if America grows rice now, many people would probably think no. Because, in their familiar thinking, America is associated with cattle, corn, soybeans, and technology, not with the image of rice paddies, buffaloes, and plows like in Asia. But in reality, America not only grows rice, but also grows a lot of it and even exports rice all over the world, including Asia, which is considered the cradle of rice civilization. But the question isn't whether America has a tradition of growing rice, but whether they have the conditions to grow rice industrially. And the answer is yes, even very well in certain areas, and they export it back to Asia. That's the interesting part. To understand why America can grow rice, you have to look at the geography of this country. And when you look at a map of the United States, you'll see something very clear. This country is incredibly vast, but not every place is suitable for traditional rice farming. The western United States has many deserts and arid regions. The north is cold, with long and harsh winters. Mountainous areas like the Rocky Mountains have steep terrain, making rice cultivation impossible. This means that only certain areas possess all three crucial elements: flat land and a warm climate. And the most important area is the basin of the legendary Mississippi River. This is one of the world's largest river systems, stretching over 3,700 kilometers, running throughout the United States from north to south. What's remarkable is not just its length, but also the land surrounding this river. It is a vast, flat plain, formed by alluvial deposits over thousands of years. The land is low-lying, with abundant water, rich in silt, and easy to cultivate. Therefore, this region of the United States has become the heart of the country's rice industry. Within this area is a state called Arkansas. This is the largest rice-producing state in the U.S., accounting for nearly half of the total production. To put it simply, if the U.S. rice industry were a club, a football team, Arkansas would be the top scorer. Besides Arkansas, there are Louisiana, Mississippi, and Texas. All are located near the Mississippi River Basin. These areas have a huge advantage: almost unlimited water resources, flat terrain favorable for mechanization, and a climate warm enough for rice cultivation. This is the foundation upon which the United States has built its rice industry. If the Mississippi region produces large quantities of rice, California produces high-quality rice. Interestingly, California isn't naturally suited for traditional rice cultivation. Its climate is Mediterranean, meaning hot, dry summers and cooler winters. But don't worry, Americans have a powerful advantage: their irrigation and water management systems. In the Sacramento Valley, they've built an extremely modern irrigation system that brings water from rivers and reservoirs to the fields. Thanks to this, they've transformed imperfect land into a high-quality rice producer. A special feature of California rice is its round, sticky grains, which are very suitable for the tastes of Japanese and Korean people. So, given the geographical conditions for American rice cultivation, how do they grow it? The first and most shocking difference is the scale. In America, agriculture has become an industry. Especially in states like Arkansas or the plains around Mississippi, rice paddies are no longer small, fragmented plots like in Vietnam, but instead are vast fields stretching to the horizon. Even storks can't fly straight without getting tired and their wings breaking. A farm of a few hundred hectares is normal, while larger ones can reach thousands of hectares. With such a large area, the approach must also change. It's impossible to work for profit. A large-scale, industrial production line must be operated. Therefore, the initial planting step is completely different. American farmers don't transplant young rice seedlings, the kind we call seedlings, into the fields as in Asia. They often sow seeds directly using machines, and in some places even use drones to disperse seeds over large areas. The seed density is calculated very carefully, ensuring even distribution to optimize yield. The difference is even more apparent in terms of care. Instead of relying heavily on the farmer's experience, Americans use technology to control their rice fields. The irrigation system is designed to divide the fields into large plots with embankments to maintain a stable water level. Water is pumped and regulated by an automated system that can be controlled remotely. Fertilizers and pesticides are also distributed by machines, and in some places, GPS technology is used to apply them in the right place, in the right amount, and to avoid waste. That is, every square meter of the field is managed, not just based on intuition. It's not about relying on the sky, the land, the clouds, the rain, the sun, or day and night. Interestingly, the role of the farmer has also changed completely. In America, they're like system operators. They sit in the air-conditioned tractor cabin, monitoring data on screens, adjusting the machinery's operation. Many farms also use software to monitor soil moisture, weather, and yield in each area. In other words, American rice farmers grow rice like factory engineers, rather than traditional farmers in brown uniforms. The difference becomes even more apparent during harvest season. Giant threshing machines can simultaneously cut, separate, and clean the rice right in the field. One machine can handle an area that would require dozens, even hundreds of laborers manually. This significantly shortens the harvest time, reduces weather-related risks, and ensures more uniform rice quality. The entire process is almost self-contained, from field to warehouse, with very little manual intervention. Of course, everything has its price. To achieve such a level of mechanization and technology, the investment costs are extremely high. Agricultural machinery in the U.S. can cost hundreds of thousands, even millions of dollars. Fuel, maintenance, labor, advanced technology, all are expensive. That's why, despite high productivity, American rice still struggles to compete in price with Asian countries. But in return, they have something very important: stability, consistency, and near absolute quality control. This is an industrial product, not an agricultural product anymore. And that's what helps them survive and have their own place in the global market. The U.S. has also chosen its own niche. If you were to directly compete with Vietnamese or Indian rice on price, it's almost certain that the U.S. would lose because their production costs are much higher. But the Americans don't play by that rule. They don't try to sell the cheapest. Instead, they choose to sell the best possible. American rice is positioned as a stable, clean, and clearly traceable product. This is crucial for demanding markets. Furthermore, they focus on special rice varieties, such as round grain rice used for sushi. This is a segment that not every country excels at. And when you capture a niche market, you don't need to win on all fronts. Now, let's consider why Asia, the world's largest rice granary, still buys American rice. Asia is the largest rice-producing region on the planet. Vietnam, Thailand, and India are all major players in the rice industry. Yet, we have to buy American rice, a country that, frankly, no one thinks of when mentioning rice paddies. First, there's the issue of demand. Countries like Japan and South Korea do grow rice, but their land is scarce and also heavily urbanized. Imagine this: small land, large population, and then they have to allocate land for building houses, factories, and roads. Where would they find enough rice paddies to grow enough to eat? Not to mention the production costs there are very high. Producing a kilogram of domestic rice can sometimes cost 1.5 to 2 times as much as imported rice. So, importing is faster and more economical. Next, there's the taste. Not all rice is the same. The Japanese and Koreans eat round, sticky rice grains, the kind used for sushi or rice rolls. But the kind from America, especially from California, is very delicious, very fragrant, and very consistent. Each bag of rice, when opened, is almost identical, without the inconsistent quality like in some other places. For demanding markets like Japan, this stability is extremely important. They are willing to pay a slightly higher price as long as the quality is consistently good. And finally, there's the unspoken factor: politics and commerce. The U.S. has many agreements with other countries, including commitments to open its market to import a certain amount of agricultural products. It's simply that sometimes buying rice isn't just about eating, but also about maintaining relationships. It's like a give and take business. You sell me cars, you sell me technology, and I have to import some of your agricultural products in return. It's a much bigger story than just the rice grains going into each cooking pot. On the rice industry map, in terms of quantity, the US isn't a major player. Their output is only a few million tons per year, much lower than India or Vietnam. But in terms of stability, quality, and export potential, they are still one of the important countries, and it's true that they do export to Asia. Thank you for your interest in following this story. If you found it interesting and surprising, please subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and share. Now, goodbye.